Hello and welcome to Community Chats. I'm your host, Aley Hammer, and today we're interviewing Victor, the VP of Customer Software from Cochlear. Victor, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you start by telling our audience a little bit about Cochlear?
Hi, Ali, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk about our experience and who we are and what we stand for. So to start off with, I would say Cochlear is a medical device company. It is a medical device company that produces solutions, makes solutions for implantable hearing loss. And effectively, we cater for a diverse set of indications, whether, it can vary from severe to profoundly deaf, and it can also depend on whether you have neurosensory hearing loss or bone conductive hearing loss. And essentially, we're in that space. So we are a market leader. We have a range of products in the industry that caters for that particular indications of hearing loss. And we have about 650,000 customers worldwide right now that are using our implantable solutions.
Wow, that is remarkable. So what does innovation mean to your business, and how do you enable innovation internally?
Great question. So innovation is something we talk about internally all the time. We use it in so many circles. And for me personally, innovation, for one, it is an enabler of things that we do internally that create these awesome solutions for our customers, right? And we use innovation as the yardstick to kind of push ourselves as much as we can in order to come up with solutions that are meaningful, have a meaningful impact to our customers. I'll give you an example of something that we created over the last few years that I think that has certainly set the dial in terms of being the front runners in innovative solutions. So a few years back, we worked with Apple and with our hearing partner, GN Resound. They're based out of Denmark. And we came up with a solution whereby our customers would be able to use the capability of their phones. In this particular instance, it would be iPhones and iPads, any Apple-based device, and allow those customers to effectively stream audio directly from their phone to the sound processor. We have never traditionally supported Bluetooth, stock standard classic Bluetooth, largely because of the battery life implications. Bluetooth is a heavy protocol. It is quite demanding on power. And one of the things that we've never done is implemented that largely because of those constraints. With Apple, we worked with them quite closely in making Bluetooth low energy, which has now become a fairly de facto standard in many, many circles for low powered devices where batteries will last you, months rather than hours. And we essentially enabled a mechanism to stream audio via that low energy protocol directly from your phone or your iPad to the sound processor. And we released that product back in 2017 with our Nucleus 7 product. And it has been an incredible success story as to, firstly, innovation and what innovation means to us, but it has had such a dramatic effect on our customers. Our customers are now able to essentially utilize their phones in so many listening conditions where they don't have to sit and listen to, the sound coming up of that speaker from the phone. It's directly streamed to the sound processor. In fact, one of the things that has happened with that specific innovation is that it now has become a ratified standard in the Bluetooth organization. So in the very near future, you'll be able to see more and more devices utilize this particular technology, and it started in the hearing aid and the cochlear implant industry. So that's the one thing that innovation means to us. Also, for me, innovation is about internal engagement and engagement with our customers, right? We engage with our customers to try and understand what their needs are, and in a way that expresses their unmet needs. The customer is never going to tell you what they need. They're going to tell you what the problem is, and innovation is interpreting those stated problems into actual solutions that solve real world needs. And if you take an extension of that and you look internally, at Cochlear, we constantly challenge each other, respectfully, of course. And I think it plays such an important role in going through the motions of keeping us honest and keeping us engaged in terms of whether we're dealing with individuals that are our colleagues or dealing with customers that can vary from our actual end customers, the recipients that use our product, or the professionals that mean a huge deal in that customer's hearing journey.
Wow, those are really cool examples. And it's, you know, without a doubt, one of the reasons why you guys are the leader in this space. It's because you are constantly innovating. So thank you so much. The work that you do is so incredible. Victor, you're a huge fan of AWS, but why did you choose to, you know, invest in the cloud? And then in particular, why AWS?
Okay, so let me start with the first one. Why did we invest in the cloud? I mean, we make products. I joined Cochlear 21 years ago as essentially a software developer, and I was writing code to produce our desktop product, which is our clinical product that the professionals use, that when a customer of ours is implanted with one of our implant solutions, they will then go to the audiologist, and the audiologist would essentially configure their device so that they can start hearing. And that's done through a Windows desktop application. And we take tremendous pride in that particular application. We've innovated even in that particular space. And I would say that the category or the class of that and the excellence that we apply to those products are essentially world-class by itself in any software category. And we also delved into the mobile space because we think that that's a natural extension of what happens specifically in the customer domain, where those are the devices that they use 99% of the time. And for us, the cloud was essentially the natural transition as to how to connect the clinical world with the professional world with the recipient world, both being customers, of course. And for us, cloud has made such a significant impact on our connected care space, which is what we call our telehealth, connected services, et cetera, et cetera. Cloud has played such a huge role in that, and it keeps growing. It absolutely keeps growing. Why we chose AWS? So the interesting thing about this is that AWS was one of the things that we picked primarily because the developers loved it. I mean, we go back maybe 8-9 years ago. I can't remember exactly when we started that journey. But for us, it was the developers loved the technology. They still do love that technology. And for me, that was really the primary motivator for actually choosing AWS. And that hasn't changed a bit since we actually selected AWS all the way back, I would say 8 years ago when we started that journey.
Oh, it's really cool to hear. I mean, my husband always says, happy wife, happy life. And I feel like happy manager, happy staff, happy manager. So it
absolutely
sounds very similar. Victor, how does the work you do on the cloud actually benefit, not just Cochlear, but your customers? You've listed a few reasons already, but can you expand on that a little bit?
All right. So I think one of the things that is probably crucial in how the cloud actually plays a role is that it's an interaction enabler. It enables those interactions between professional and our customer. It enables, it facilitates services that would otherwise not be possible. A good example of this is our service and repair process. So years back, going back maybe 6 years ago, what would happen is that if your dog chewed your device and you needed a replacement device. Now remember, the dog will chew the device to the extent that that processor is broken. That recipient, that customer is off the air. They cannot hear and they want a replacement device. In the past, what they'd have to do, many years ago, what they would have to do is they would have to go back to their clinic, set up an appointment. I mean, you can imagine, right? You go to your GP, you're not going to get an appointment in 2 hours' time. You're lucky if you can get an appointment tomorrow, and maybe it's the end of the week. Very, very similar sort of scenario. And here, it's an interaction that really facilitates the hearing of that particular customer. And they would be off air for potentially days because they would have to go back to the clinic. Essentially, the clinic then would facilitate a return materials authorization process to essentially get a replacement device, and the device would then go back to the clinic. The clinic will then ship it to the recipient. One of our first things that we did in the cloud, right, was enable the cloud to facilitate the process of essentially getting that, or eliminating the burden that the clinic would go through in that process. So today, in many jurisdictions, what will happen is that the recipient or our customer will call Cochlear directly. They'll go through a troubleshooting step, dog-aided, doesn't work. Okay, we'll send you out a replacement device, and we've got the information that is critical to the reconfiguration of that device, to the extent that, for example, in the United States, if you make that call before 9 a.m. anywhere in the United States, you will have a replacement device by the end of the day. And that has changed the way that recipients, it's minimized the amount of time that they're off the air. And even the professionals, they love this, they love it. And it wouldn't have been possible if cloud didn't play a role in that. And cloud has facilitated that process, and it's just been incredible, right? From that point of view. But it's given us it's given us the ability to provide a lot more than just those kind of solutions. And we've extended it to things where during the pandemic, customers couldn't go to their audiologist. We've now created solutions that allows them to do a telehealth consult, where our the audiologists can perform a remote session with the customer, with the recipient, and effectively do essentially the same thing that they would have done if they had come into the clinic. And the cloud has played a significant role in that.
Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I imagine that working at Cochlear is just so fulfilling, and the impact that you have in your customers is extraordinary. And obviously that's probably one of the reasons why you've stuck around for 21 years. It's just...
Yeah, I was just going to say that's probably the reason why I've been here for 21 years.
Victor, to wrap up this interview, I mean, I could talk to you for ages. You're so passionate. I'm really enjoying the story here, but can you share with us what future technologies you're excited about that will enhance your presence in the cloud and that customer experience? Because I feel like over your 21 years, you've done so many extraordinary things, and it's just amazing. So I'm just wondering what's to come. Is there anything that you guys are looking into at the moment in the future that you can tell us about?
Sure. Look, I can't talk to specifics because, that would be spilling the beans, and we would like to at least safeguard some of the innovation that we're sort of working on. But the one thing that I can say about AWS is that the pace at which AWS, you guys, innovate is phenomenal. I mean, we cannot keep up the pace of how you guys innovate. And I think it's incredible that you have that ability. And I think that we're actually very, very, very fortunate to have a company that can innovate at the pace that you guys innovate. So with that, you look at the technologies that actually have a meaningful impact, that will actually improve technology in terms of it's a better architectural practice, or it enables quicker response times in certain things, or it's a more sustainable mechanism for how you manage your development cycle and how you manage your products in the cloud. So the sort of things that we constantly keep doing that. I mean, we're certainly looking at things such as a best practice model in terms of going serverless. So we ask ourselves the question, is this solution that we're looking at, can we implement it using serverless technology? And if the answer is no, you go revisit and think about it again. I'm actually plagiarizing that because a friend of mine used to say that, and I love that thing. Like, is it serverless? No, okay, you rethink it and determine whether or not it's serverless. So serverless technology is certainly something that we're embracing. We're slowly but surely making that transition to serverless, including, Lambda, using Lambda as a mechanism to kind of implement microservices that you can isolate with that sort of stuff. And other things in terms of, we're using Fargate, for example, now, and actually quite actively implementing it. And I think the important thing there is that one of the things that we've learned, a valuable lesson, is that sometimes what we've had to do is we've sometimes had to go to third-party products still running inside AWS, right? But they've effectively become managed we have to manage those rather than being managed services like, Aurora, for example, is a database technology that is a managed service. And slowly but surely, we're moving towards that as well, where we're asking ourselves, can we facilitate this solution or implement this solution using serverless technology, including even things such as significant database technology, and incorporate that into the architecture, where we want to try and go serverless as much as possible and manage services as much as possible. And you guys have been phenomenal in actually helping us construct that vision for an architectural, sustainable future.
Victor, thank you so much. There's definitely a bit of a love affair between Cochlear and the partnership with AWS. We're both very passionate about each other. So thank you so much for partnering with us and for sharing your story. And we might have to get you back on the show maybe next year to see where you're, what you're doing next year.
Love to.
Yeah, thank you so much, Victor. We'll chat to you soon.
No worries. Take care. Bye now.